Welcome everybody. This is National Master Cengiz Hasman from Northern Cyprus, and this is my latest video, Gaining Experience Against Grandmasters. And my opponent today is Grandmaster Jonathan Parker from England. He was in the top 10 when I played him in 2010. We were playing in the London League, a team competition I've played in many times. And I played my usual d4 move. And after 3 moves, we have reached one of the best responses against d4, which is the Nimzo-Indian Defence. In my previous video, I actually entered the same variation against International Master Yang Kai, who is a Grandmaster now. And this game was very good experience for me, this variation. I played Queen c2. And if you remember, if black takes on the knight, I can take with my queen without damaging my pawn structure. I do lose a move, but I keep my good pawn structure. He castled a3, and as mentioned, I took with my queen. He's got better development, but I've got the bishop pair and some pawns in, well, pawn in the center and a pawn next to it. I develop my first bishop, and he takes with the idea of pushing b6 or b5, depending on my reply. I took, and he played b6. Here, I didn't play a theoretical move. It wasn't the best move, but it wasn't a terrible move either. As black does try and get c5 in, I thought I would try and make it a bit more difficult, so I played b4. He attacked my bishop, and I took, and he took with his queen. He's offering his c7 pawn, but in return he wants my central d4 pawn. So as I think this d4 pawn is more important than the c7 pawn, I don't accept the exchange, because his queen would also be attacking my rook and my king would be vulnerable. I protect, and now I am threatening to take on c7. He doesn't allow this. I develop my knight, and he threatens my queen with his bishop. However, there is a downside to his move. His knight is stuck to protecting c6, so I keep the pressure. So as soon as he moves his knight, he has to be prepared to give this c6 pawn. So in light of this, he plays rook c8. Now he wants to develop his knight, and I should have played the nice knight e5 move, stopping this idea. And it's very important to stop your opponent's ideas. It can frustrate them, they can lose time. However, I thought at the time taking the center was more important, so I played e4. He took my bishop, I took the king, and now he developed his knight. I mean, you can pause the video if you like to see what you would choose here. Perhaps you would choose a better move than me. I didn't play the best move here. I played e5 attacking the queen. However, according to the computer, h4 is a better move. Why? Because there is a rook lift, and I can even move my king to g1 and manually castle. I didn't play this, and he retreated his queen, and I played g3, wanting to put my king here to join my rooks, and he played a5. And now if I take on a5, I've got a3 as a weakness. If I don't take it, he will probably take, and then my b4 pawn will be a weakness. So he's going after my weaknesses. I decide to protect with my queen, the lesser of the two evils, and he played b5. I now finally join my rooks, which admittedly is a bit late. And now I'm trying to fight for the A file. He puts his knight onto a very good square. C4 was also possible, knight C4. And you can pause the video and have a look. Can you think of some good squares for this knight, given the time, if I had the time? Okay, I will tell you. The knight would be good here and here. These two squares would be very good. Here it would be looking at those two squares, and maybe even, if given the chance, come onto f6. But these two squares, and in some situations a5 can be quite effective. But you do have to judge each position accordingly on its own merits. In some positions, a good move can be bad in other positions. I decided to take, and it's the best move in a reasonably bad position, but it's very important to stay mentally strong against whoever you're playing, whether a grandmaster or your own level or somebody lower than your level, and just try and create chances. Whereas if we sort of get demoralized, if we allow ourselves to get demoralized, then our position can collapse very quickly. So we need to have the right mindset in our games, and be optimistic. Don't be pessimistic. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? So very important, and we might not get a result in this game or the next game, but you will get results in later games, and some players might even start calling you lucky, but it's not all luck. There might be some luck involved, but it's not all luck. Mentality, mindset. So I'm developing my other rook. He's got a weakness, so I'm eyeing up his weakness on c6. And he's doubling with the potential of trebling on the A file. And he plays a good move, rook a4. Why? If you want, you can pause the video again. And the reason is, if he does want to play b4, and if he doesn't play rook a4, he allows me the option of playing a4, which could make it a bit awkward for him. He would still be better, but this is a much easier and better route because it takes away my a4 move, and he just wins the a3 pawn. I see that things are not going well on the queen side, so I do try and mix things up on the king side. Maybe I can somehow attack. As I said, you need to be optimistic and just try and not be intimidated, and just try and do your best. He's now winning this pawn by force. And he takes it, and now I just go for I advance my g pawn with the hope of creating weaknesses, because we can see that if we look at this square, because the board can be divided into 4 squares like this. He's very good on these 2 squares, or this half of the board. All these pieces are there, but nothing, only his king on the king side, and I've got a knight, my queen can come, so it's always good to be hopeful and try and take advantage of your opponents if he's played any inaccuracies. He doesn't want to take, he doesn't want to bring my queen or knight over, which is a good move. And I just push this, trying to create weaknesses as mentioned. He takes. I want to get out of this knight check. He attacks my rook. Well, he attacks my knight too, but I give him a choice of which one he wants in return for his own rook. He says check, I come up, check with the knight, and then he just comes and protects his knight. All these pieces are well coordinated, in all fairness. Mine are not, unfortunately for me. I take this, and then the game actually does continue, but I think I was so short of time, I didn't write the moves, or I resigned in this position because the computer shows 2 moves in mate in 2 moves. So because of the time control I was playing, you don't write in the last 5 minutes. It wasn't a digital clock, so yes. Anyway. Advice for this defeat of mine. Despite it being a defeat, we should interpret things positively. We should test ourselves against these strong players, these titled players. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be intimidated of them. Learn from your mistakes. Just push yourself, and your good results will come sooner or later. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So thank you for watching. Please leave any comments or questions. Bye.